I want to share your...
Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost live.
I want to share yours to my page really fast.
You're so live right now.
I know I am. What up?
Thank you for coming. You know, there's so many things going around about coronavirus, so we wanted to take some time, answer some questions, and you know, really have Jack Clark. Good to see you, my friend.
Hi, Jack.
Thank you for chiming in. And answer some questions about this. I know people have so many questions. There's a lot going on, and I feel like I've been saying the same thing. People continually call me and ask questions, and they're worried. So this is a place where you guys can ask some questions, and you know, I'll give the answers I have. I don't know it all. I've read an incredible amount on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an ER doctor. I feel like every day I get a new email from the ERs about how we're preparing, what we're going to do. So there you are. Here we are. Thanks for coming to live. Let's get started.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Wait, no, we had to start over. I'm sorry. I was the one messing this up. What is up, you guys?
Hi, Miss Augustine.
My name is Brittney Carbone. I'm a fitness and nutrition coach, and I'm here with Dr. Larry.
I, too, am a fitness and nutrition coach.
But don't touch my hands because Corona. Elbow.
Stop.
Just kidding.
Stop.
Okay, so for people on my Instagram, we have Instagram going, we have Facebook going, and this is Dr. Larry. And who are you and what do you do?
I'm an ER doctor, and I've been on the front lines of this thing in the ER. I'm off right now, but Sunday I go back. In the next couple weeks, I will be in the ER. I said I go back.
Okay.
You're laughing, but looking
I know, I'm
back,
sorry.
like we have had patients already that
I know.
We haven't had a ton of testing out there, but they probably have had coronavirus.
I know. No, I know.
And some of them have been very sick. Usually they're older, over 80. One little lady that's coming to my mind had COPD, smoker's lung. She was 70-something. She was still smoking. So one thing people can do is stop smoking.
Okay, well, let's rewind.
Stop smoking.
Let's rewind.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting into it.
And I'm sorry that I was laughing in the beginning. It's only because it's the way I deal with hysteria. But that's a whole psychology lesson. Anyways, so Dr. Larry is on the front lines of all of this stuff. Oh, there we go. That is going on with coronavirus. Now, I think one of the biggest...
So I'm an ER doctor and I'm a medical expert for Fox in San Francisco. So I've done a lot of media about this. And let's just talk about what the core messaging is right now that I think it should be.
Okay.
I'll get your thoughts on this. Number one is, I know we're afraid. It's going to be okay. There's going to be a viral season. We're just getting into it. It's going to get worse.
Okay.
There's going to be more cases. Some people are going to die. We're going to get through it. The best thing that people can do is the stuff you've been hearing. Wash your hands. If you're sick, stay home. All of these school cancelings, so that when the people who are going to get the sickest from it, which are older people over 70, 80 with chronic medical conditions, that the ICUs and the ERs and the hospitals don't overflow and that we can still take care of them.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing right now. I think things are going to get worse before they get better. And then there will be a day when the cases stop going up and they go down. And we will get through this like a flu season, but I think it's going to be weeks to months.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you next, because I think like some of us are you know, it's conflicting because the media, it's like we never really know what to, for me at least. I'm looking at the media and
I get confused too.
Yeah.
I'm reading stuff and I'm like this, and then I have to get like real medical stuff or like look at the stuff from work and you know, it's like, okay, it's very easy to get confused. And I'm like on the front lines.
Yeah.
So easy to get confused.
That's the thing. I think that it's like, okay, what is actually real and what's not? And what, you know, is it the media going off of fear and wanting to, you know, make us really scared? And then all the, you know, the repercussions of that with like the panic buying and all of that stuff. But to come back really quick.
Crazy. It's crazy right now.
It is crazy right now.
It's crazy.
How long do you think realistically, like this whole, when do you think that the peak, and I know this is all, obviously this is not that you know everything, but like with I guess with the common flu season, how long is like the peak, the worst of it before it goes down?
So if you talk about it's hard to make the analogy of, is this going to be like the flu? But if you
Right.
talk about a viral flu season, it usually starts in November, December, and by in December is getting bad, and it's
Right.
bad through January, February. This year, it's been still bad into March. That was
Okay.
like 3-4 months of that. I think we're realistically looking at weeks to months of coronavirus circulating around,
Okay.
getting people sick, filling up ERs and hospitals.
hmm
I'm not saying we're going to be on lockdown quarantine for months.
Right. Okay. Well,
I don't know when the peak's going to be. It's not going to be in a week.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
not going to be in a week.
Okay.
It's like when schools are closed, like through the end of the year, and there's stuff, March is definitely out and all that stuff. Like that makes sense to me. It's some people are like, oh, we stayed at home for a few days. Like, is it over yet, or is it going to be over in a
Yeah.
week? And it's like, guys, no, we're like bracing for people to get sick. If I had it and you walked by me and you got exposed, you might not get sick for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
For an older person, 80 with bad lungs, who's at risk of ending up in the ICU, it might be another week after that until they end up in the ICU. So there's this delay.
Right.
So it's spreading right now. People are getting sick and more, but as it spreads more and more, people are going to get sicker and sicker. We haven't even seen this stuff yet. We're
Right.
still going into this thing, which is to say, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Okay.
And it's going to be okay. That's okay. It means we do all the right things that we should be doing, washing hands, when you're sick, staying home, and all of these things that we're doing, you do that. If you're older and you're at risk, make sure you're taking the right pills. If you're diabetic, your blood sugar's controlled. If you're smoking, stop. If you have COPD,
Mhm.
get on the right inhalers so that you are in the best shape you can be when this thing comes through. You need a flu shot and a pneumonia shot if you're in that older age group. Younger people, young, healthy people,
Right.
don't have as much to worry about in terms of life-threatening stuff.
Right.
There's cases, sure, but there's cases of people that die of the flu. This is not the freak-out thing for young, healthy people. But
Right.
what you do matters.
Because we
and
can pass it.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
because
not
you
to
can
keep going.
pass it to older people who
Mhm.
can then get sick and die and overwhelm the system and all that. That's the kind of story right now. That's where we're at. I agree with that. That's the game plan. That's what we should be doing. This stuff is crazy. It's drastic.
Right.
All of these, like stay home, cancel school, whatever. And the reason we're doing that is the fear that if we didn't do it, we would run out of ICU beds, and then we would have to triage and be like, we don't have enough vents. You're not going to get one.
Right.
You're going to die. That's what we're trying to avoid. Now, the other thing that I want to say about this is, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to leave.
No.
And then I'm gonna turn it
This is
over to
great.
you,
I'm like,
Brittney. I don't want to keep blathering, but
No, you're great.
but the system is going to get overwhelmed. We're doing, you doing your part right now, staying healthy, all these kind of things, will absolutely make a difference. That's what we need to do. But the system will get overwhelmed, without a doubt, because we're already overwhelmed. Okay. Every flu season, like we talked about before, really December, January, February, my 40-bed ER turns into a 60-bed ER. And we start seeing patients in chairs and in the hall and in whatever. Why? Because that's what we have to do
Right.
to take care of people.
Right.
It's going to happen again. And for those of us who have done this forever, no offense, United States, we've been working in a broken system our whole career. We know how to create extra beds. Now, running out of vents, ICU is a whole other level. We still should be doing the right things for that. And we're going to show up to work. Like, this is kind of what we made for.
Right.
We've taken care of people before, and when it's busy, we'll take care of people now, and we'll take care of people afterwards, too. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be okay. It's going to be rough, but we're going to make the extra bets. We're going to do the best that we can, and we're going to get through it.
Right.
So even the worst case scenario is going to be okay. That doesn't mean you go out, smearing corona everywhere and getting everybody sick. Like, you're still smart about it.
Right. Well, but you said that earlier. It's like, if if someone has it, you need to stay quarantined, and it's not just because it's like something's going to happen to you, but because you're going to pass it on to someone else who could even if it's not near direct people, like if I pass it to you and then you went and saw your grandparents, it's like, then it's like, you know, I mean, I think about my family. It's like my dad, you know, my dad's 40, my dad's 76. Like he's a higher risk, you know, he's in
how's his health?
It's okay, but not the best.
But something that you worry about.
Yes, of course I'm worried, you know, like worried about that. But like, and then at the same time, I'm not. I don't know. It's that. I guess for me, it's like really the media side where I'm like, is this real or is it not real? But not to go down like conspiracy theorist path. But like,
what do you think? What do you mean media side? I'm sure there's a lot of people that not
I'll
only worry about their parents, who a lot of our parents are not in the best of health, or grandparents,
right?
And we are worried about them. We want to keep as many of them around as we can.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's like it's not like my family's in bad health. It's just like that they're in that older, like that age bracket.
They're in the risk.
Yeah, they're
higher
in the
risk category. Absolutely.
I think that, you know, in the past, it's like we see all these sensationalized stories on the media. And so I think it's very confusing as a person who's consuming content of like, you know, something's such a big deal and then all of a sudden it's gone. And I think that that's the reoccurring thing that I'm hearing from people who are not in the hysteria. Yeah. They're like, this will blow over in a couple weeks. It will be gone. You'll see. Like, oh, it's dramatic that they're closing stuff. And it's just like, it's confusing because we've seen so many things that are like, this is the biggest thing. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, it just randomly disappeared. Like all of a sudden that thing is gone. However, when you see the content from like Italy and specifically for me, the stuff from Italy, I was like, oh shit, like this is real. Like this isn't a joke.
Yeah. And I think part of what you're touching is there's a lot of unknown about this thing. Yeah. In the beginning, you know, I was like, this thing is more like the flu than a viral disease with 10% or 30% mortality. Right. And that's true.
Right.
It's a little worse than the flu, but it isn't this horrible, huge thing. But you'll see the media narrative will evolve and it will continue to evolve. And this is why one of the things I'm saying now is it's going to get worse. It's going to get crazier in the media first until it gets better. So, but what can you hang on to through this? You know, listen to experts. I like the CDC.
Yeah.
Like that's solid.
They're pretty grounded. They're like pretty factual.
They're scientific. I usually check in with that. But but even still, like I looked at it today and it showed maybe 1,200 cases of corona, official cases of corona, and 40 deaths. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, those numbers are so much smaller than the reality of how many people have this circulating thing, because we haven't been we haven't been diagnosing it. But anyway, the point is your things are going to continue to evolve, especially in the media. The story is gonna, it's gonna change. Hang in there. Take a break. Yeah. You don't need to read every story, every whatever. I want to tell this for a second.
I know. I want to jump on this part too.
Yeah, so do it. Let me look at a couple of these. Okay. Let me just say hi.
I'll jump in on. Can I just give my opinion on what I think we should do?
Hi, Nick. For those of us who have been doing this forever, when did we wake up and find ourselves being middle-aged? That's not funny, but yeah, we're older than college. That's for sure.
It's so weird. I keep being like, oh my God, I'm 33. What happened?
No kidding, right?
Yeah, it's weird. Well, okay, so there's
some people, like some of these experts that are in charge of this stuff, Anthony Fauci, whatever, they've lived through so many. This should make us feel better. There are health officials that have lived through HIV, right? Like we didn't know what that was for years.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't have a test for HIV for 4 years. We didn't have a treatment for HIV for 11 years, right? But we figured out what corona was within weeks.
Yeah, the advancement of technology and of science is insane.
Science is really here
I love
to
science.
help us. I love science.
I love science. I love science. I love data.
There's people that have lived through HIV, MERS, SARS, these experts that have studied it and are advising. I know that we've always done the right thing government-wise, but are advising what the right things are to do. Mm-hmm. This is like a big one for us, in our lives. This will be a big event.
It will be. I mean, I'm thinking about like a bunch of my friends randomly like had babies right now, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna be like, oh, I had you during the coronavirus. Like,
what is that?
I don't know, it makes me laugh. Okay, it's not funny, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Okay, so this is.
What are they calling like because everybody's going to be at home the next month, so they're calling coronials or something, like
Oh my God.
babies that'll be born in 10 months that were conceived now
there's going to be lots of baby making.
it's the coronials boom or
It's
something.
the only good thing.
Has anybody heard that?
maybe
Is that just
mental.
me? Do you want to interact with these people?
Yeah, let's see.
You think it's okay for me to still visit family in Tennessee? We are all healthy. So if the question is about domestic travel, you know, I am unaware of a broad stroke domestic travel ban at this point in the United States. When you say okay, is it okay for you traveling? Yes. You know, it's still, in my opinion, it's still unknown. If you're traveling from California, you know, I think the San Jose airport, they demonstrated that there were a handful of TSA guys that were positive for corona. I think this thing is circulating around. You have to know that there is some risk to travel. It's not zero.
Yeah.
It's not as high risk as going into a nursing home and whatever. I think conservatively people would say don't travel. I don't know how much risk there is to you if you're young, healthy, whatever. I think it gets into this issue of should we be on total lockdown to prevent it from getting transmitted anywhere?
Right.
Versus, you know, for young, there's two aspects to it. If you're a young, healthy person, it's like, what would you do during the flu season? Most people wouldn't pay attention to it. And the other aspect of it is, well, should you be traveling with the slight increase of risk of transmission to other people that are older? And I think that's a gray area.
Yeah, I think somebody else asked on mine, like, hey, I'm thinking about going to Las Vegas. And it's like, do you, like, yeah, it's that question, like, do you travel? So
like to fly or drive, and then what are they going to do in Vegas?
What do you do in Vegas? And then, like, I mean, really, if you think about, somebody else asked about immune system, it's like, don't smoke, don't drink alcohol, continue exercise, even if it's in your home.
Yeah. So hang on. So let's take that one. So let's talk about for just a second. So in answer to these questions about can you travel to Vegas, for example, should you go on a trip to Vegas? So number one, assuming you're a young, healthy person, you're not 80 with lung disease and heart disease like we've talked about.
Right.
You're not 40 on chemotherapy for breast cancer or on immunosuppressive medications for Crohn's disease or whatever. That's a slightly higher risk. If you're young and healthy, is there a significant risk to you from traveling? There's some risk that you could get it. It's not zero.
Right.
So that's the first thing I would say. And there's a slight increased risk that you have it and you're not symptomatic and you're transmitting it. And that depends on your location. If you're coming out of Los Angeles, Washington, San Francisco, New York, that's going to be higher risk than other parts. Let's talk just for a second about how contagious this
That's
thing
what I wanted
is.
to ask you about the asymptomatic thing. Like, could it be that you don't have any symptoms ever?
Yes.
Oh, that's super interesting. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about that.
So there's a lot of people that would be in that, you might call that a carrier, where somebody is exposed, they get the virus, their immune system just fights it off. They're able to transmit disease, even though they don't have very many symptoms. Remember, 80% of people have mild or not much disease when they get this. Most people, it's just kind of like a mild cold and it's gone and whatever. Most people.
Right.
And so that's kind of one of the difficult things about figuring out how many people have it and it makes it easier for it to spread.
Right.
You can see why a lot of these really severe travel restrictions and stay home and canceling all these things, because it's still good public health policy when you are sick, fever, cough, all this stuff, stay home so you don't transmit it.
Right.
But we have these questions now. It's like, what if you're not sick?
Right.
And you still could have it. Well, should you get tested? No, don't go in and get tested. You don't want to overwhelm the system. But then the other side of it is like, well, but if I knew I had it, then I would stay home. And so this is this it's a back and forth. If we had a ton of testing and it was easy and it was a drive-through, I'd say go get it.
Right.
We don't have that right now.
Right.
Maybe that'll change in a couple weeks, but so the other thing is, what is the highest risk way to get coronavirus? There's a spectrum. This is how I explain. Well, if somebody had it, like if you were at the mall and somebody had it and they walked across the mall from you 15 feet away, that's not really an exposure.
Okay.
You know, like
Right.
we don't have to freak out about that. Like there's one person in the mall yesterday that had it,
And so
and
now
I
everyone
walked
has
in and
it.
out of Bloomies. I've got it. No, that's not real exposure. On the other hand, if you French kissed somebody that had it and then they sneezed and coughed on your face,
Right.
like you've got the virus,
Yeah, but what
right?
if you just made out with someone that had it? Would you still get it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, you said and they sneezed.
I'm
and
just
coughed.
giving you like the
I'm like,
extreme example of
okay.
like
Yeah.
everything
it's
like
all up on you.
you've got it, right? Like
Right.
close contact like that.
Mhm.
I think they say 6 feet. There's some evidence that the virus may be able to live for a day or two on surfaces.
I just saw that today.
So you go to the gym and some bro was like, he had it. He put it on the bench press. You do bench, and then you do one of these.
Go together.
That's like exposure in the middle. So there's a range, right? I'm trying to
Right.
show you that there's a range between making out with somebody and totally that's an exposure to somebody on the other side of the street who's got it that walks past you, not really significant, and then stuff in between.
Yeah. Then I guess that's the concern about flying, like traveling, because if you get on a plane and someone sat there that had it, they touched the tray table, then you touch the tray,
Right.
That's a lot of people
Right.
flying.
But so again, like let's break this into a couple groups. If you're older and you have some medical
Underlying
disease,
conditions.
underlying conditions, you probably want to avoid a lot of that stuff.
Right.
If you're younger and healthier, don't freak out about that stuff. Like, don't be a jerk. Like, do the basics. Wash your hands. Do what you can. Be smart. It's an individualized thing. Are you still going to go to yoga class? Well, I wouldn't say blanket no, but figure it out. And it matters. The other thing that matters is how comfortable are you with risk for yourself and getting it. If you're freaked out, don't go to the yoga class.
Well, a lot of actually, like in LA at least, I know a lot of yoga classes or studios are closed.
Yeah, they're closing.
Yeah, they're closing.
Yeah.
I mean, 12-step meetings closed.
Yeah.
Or a lot of them, not all of them. There's a lot of places that are pretty normal that are closing, smaller studios. Gold's Gym is still open.
I was there today.
I know I was there today too. I don't know how much longer it'll be open, but
Brooke Davidson is watching. Do you have any thoughts on why kids seem to have some kind of immunity? Hi, Aunt Tracy. Father Steve. James Cole. Hi, Tyler and Melanie. Liz, that's an interesting question. Why do children have immunity to it? I don't know, but
I know that's weird. But great, actually.
That's actually
It's really good.
It is really good news. I mean, can you imagine how panicked
Oh my God.
this country would be if this coronavirus were killing children?
This would be.
We'd be dialed up so much more. For whatever reason, and this has been true since they did the initial studies. They did this initial study was 420 people, and there wasn't a case under age 15.
Right.
It was like, wow, that's fascinating. Children seem to their immune systems either just clear it very quickly. They don't get symptomatic. As a scientist, I'm like, wow, what is it about their immune system that is somehow stronger, better equipped for this disease? Elderly, with medical conditions, that makes sense.
Right.
But usually what we say, especially with influenza, is that infants and under 6 months, their immune systems, have natural immunity from their mothers. Breastfeeding helps support that. But they're still weaker than a 7-year-old child who has a stronger immune system. And so the youngest ones we typically think of as being vulnerable. There are 100 and I don't know how many now deaths of children from influenza, but not from corona, which is fascinating. I don't know the reason for that.
That is
no, I don't know why.
But that's good. I mean, that's good. It's good.
It's good,
It's
right?
great.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, I won't say silver lining, but
Yeah, it
it'd
was
be
good.
so much
That's
worse if this
right.
was also
Oh.
seriously affecting children.
Right.
And it's not.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you got a lot of questions rolling.
Let's check out the questions. Stay healthy, kiddo. Thanks for sharing.
Hi, Lisa.
The kids are good because they drink from the hose.
Hi, Krista.
Hi, you guys. Ronald, what's up? Okay. Not too many
What questions do you guys have about coronavirus and what's going on in the media right now and all that stuff? That's kind of what we're here answering questions about.
Can I add some mental health stuff?
Yeah, please.
Okay, not that I'm a mindset coach. So one thing I will say is when the energy is like this, when there's mass hysteria, I think it's even more important for us to take that moment of pause. And even if you're just sitting and meditating and quieting your mind for at least 5 minutes a day right now, just to get yourself grounded, because stress also, correct me if I'm wrong, lowers your immune system.
Sure.
So there's heightened stress and heightened panic, and everyone's, we're just reacting. We're in a reaction mode, and it's totally understandable with everything that's coming at us. And I get it for sure. But I think it's even more important that we are taking care of ourselves. So taking a bath, like something as simple as like taking a bath, lighting a candle.
How do you take care of yourself? What are good way? Give some more examples of how to kind of cope with this stress of Corona.
For sure. So I coach women. So at first I started panicking because I was feeling, not because I was scared, but because they were scared, and I was feeling the impact of that, like the energy of them being nervous. And I was like, oh my God, how do I hold space for all of them and be able to be strong and be like, it's going to be okay. Because I do at my core. No, we're going to be okay. It's going to take a second, but everything's going to be okay, because it always is. And so what I had to really dive into is meditation, and then journaling. Like, what is my fear? Like, what is actually coming out? What am I scared of? So
what came up for you? I'm just curious.
Honestly, just my family. Like, it was my family, and then them being impacted by the hysteria. And
a lot of people can identify with that.
Yeah, just the fear of like, and not that I'm scared. Something. Get that? Could you try? Siri.
Hey Siri, what's up, girl?
Hey girl, you're out.
Siri just want to be a part of the conversation.
I know. Don't worry. She's listening.
She'll be back.
She'll be back. So just the panic, or not the panic, but like, my mom being upset.
Yeah, you were worried about your family.
Yeah, worried about my family. Just and them like not getting resources and things like that. Because
so what did you do about that?
So
for yourself, and then
for me, I mean, my mom was already on top of it. She was like, I got everything. You need to go fill your gas tank. I was like, Mom, it's gonna be okay.
You need to go fill your gas
But I did listen to her, and I did order, some
I didn't
like
even think about gas.
I know, I didn't think about gas. I think gas.
Thank you, Brittney's mom.
Thanks, Bren. But I think that it's mostly because there's so much hysteria at the grocery stores and things like that I was like panicking for that, or feeling fear for them.
God, you just feel it.
Yeah,
man.
I'm super.
We all feel it.
Yeah, we all feel it, whether you know it or not. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
things that I'm doing right now are really grounding myself through meditation, journaling, listening to positive things. Because here's the thing: I do not watch the news, and I try not to look at the social stuff. However, what I did know is Sunday night, I think it was, I went down the rabbit hole. And what happened was I felt that fear, anxiety, or no, it was Monday, but fear, anxiety, panic. My heart was racing. I started like, my palms were sweating. Just like
your adrenaline goes.
Yes. And then I was just like exhausted from all of it. I'm like, oh my God. But the thing and the truth is, and I think what makes us feel so vulnerable is that we're so completely powerless over it. We are powerful though in what we're able to focus on in our mind.
Yeah.
And so for me, what is important right now is staying centered and grounded. And that might sound really LA or woo-woo, but like, what is the purpose of me researching and panicking and freaking out and doing all of that stuff? Like, it's not going to serve me or the people around me. So my goal personally is just to be of service by being chill, not like telling people not to get things that they might need. And the only reason really is that I believe is like, because people are buying everything. So it's like really hard to find chicken,
I could find it. I went to 2 places too.
Yeah. And I'm like, so those things. So I took a bath last night. I lit some candles. I just did some things that made me feel good.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm going to watch a funny movie tonight and just keep it light, because there is a lot of intense energy. And I really do feel like we have to manage and control that. That's just my opinion.
I think that is, I want to echo exactly what you said. Number one, take your own temperature. How are you feeling?
Mm-hmm.
What is your stress level? Put it on a 1 to 10. Mine is notched up 1 or 2 points with this whole thing between going to work and then just reading this stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then 2 is be conscious and aware of what makes it worse for you. If you get into the news cycle and you go read, and you're obsessing about the media headlines and it's making you worse and worse, cut it out. Limit it. Either give yourself a limited thing, 1 time a day I'll do it, or be like, I need a break for a few days.
Right.
if something comes up, somebody's probably going to tell you it's going to be okay. We're kind of addicted to the news cycle and everything.
Right.
It's okay to take a break and get out of it. And then 3, what can you do? This is the question. You just answered it beautifully. What can you do to cope with the stress and anxiety of this coronavirus season that we're in? It's not over. It's not going to end in a week or 2.
Right.
We're looking to, I think it's going to be 1 or 2 months of this kind of stuff. So your mental health needs to be a priority in terms of taking care of yourself, doing all of these things to cope with stress. And a big one is turning off the media.
It is. And then I have to add something else. Sorry. I'm
Go
not
on.
sorry, but
No.
sorry, not sorry. Is that, I went to the grocery store yesterday and the energy is very intense. And again, I understand, like, I'm not like, oh, why are these people freaking out? I understand. And I empathize with that. And I think that what we can do is be kind. Like, even the people, and thank you for everything you're doing, like showing up to work and not being like, I'm not going to go in because of the virus. Like, you're like, this is what I was made to do.
Yeah.
Even the people though at the grocery store, it's like, you guys, people are going in there and they're being super aggressive and mean and rude, and people are pushing people out of the way, stealing stuff from people's carts. It's like, hold on, like, let's breathe for a second and let's be human. Yeah. And let's don't forget that, like, we have to just be nice to people. And it's interesting. I was nice to people in the store and they were like, you could just tell that they couldn't believe that someone was being nice at the store right now.
It's like everybody's like on edge. Yeah. Got the guard up,
it's like the zombie apocalypse is happening. And that's the way it feels. And again, I'm not downplaying people's feelings because I understand why they feel that way.
Yeah.
But it's like, just remember those little tiny things and ways that you can be of service by just being.
That's good.
Just to be a little sensitive to the way people are feeling.
Yeah, no, kind through this time.
Right.
It makes a difference too.
It does.
As we're on the topic of mental health, I wanted to tell a story of a patient I had in the ER.
Mm-hmm.
As you described what happened to you when you went down the rabbit hole.
Right.
I had a patient who had depression, anxiety. She couldn't stop reading the headlines. She stayed up all night, and then in the morning she ended up in the ER in a full-blown panic attack because of the coronavirus.
Yes.
Which I was like, wow. She was in tears. She was writhing on the bed. Like, she was just in this really, really terrible. She absolutely needs to stop reading that stuff, get some distance, and then focus on her own mental health and taking care of herself through this time. We all need to do that. We can all feel the collective anxiety through this. Yes. And this is how you do it. Take a deep breath.
Let's do it right now.
Yeah. Let's do this. What do you do? This is what I do. This is how do you...
Let's all do it.
The adrenaline goes up, prepares you for fight or flight, cortisol, all this stuff. How do you get it out of the system? Taking a deep, slow breath like this counters all of that. And as you exhale, you imagine letting all of that adrenaline and cortisol, all these corona, everything just get out of your system. So you take it in, hold it 3 seconds, and then just let it out. As you let it out, let your body relax. Trust that this is going to be okay, because it is. It's going to be rough. There's going to be bumps. And it's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. We're going to survive, because historically we've survived before. And this is not going to be the thing that takes us out.
No.
Let it out.
The other thing I
do that a lot during the day.
Yeah. And I also like to do this thing, and this might occur as a little silly, but I do this thing where if I find myself future tripping or thinking like, oh my gosh, the future, or or my parents, or like the food, or whatever.
Yeah.
I do this thing where I just put my left foot on the ground and I say right here, and I put my right foot on the ground. I say right now, and I'm like, where are your feet? They're right here, right now. Where is your head? Right here. Like, stay in this present moment. It gives me a physical action to get me back into this present moment.
It's a grounding technique.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus like doing what's going to happen in 1 day, 2 days.
Yeah. So along those lines, like, if we kind of like look around right now, we're okay.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
Worrying about this stuff in the future, creating all that mental anxiety is kind of very Eastern Buddhist, but I think very true. Like, come back to the moment and realize we're okay.
Right.
Today, right now. Tomorrow, maybe another story. We're going to let it unfold. Let it unfold.
1 day at a time.
We're okay right now. Yeah. Let's see what some people are saying. Hi, Liz.
Hi, guys.
Well, it's like we're going in.
Are MDs doing more FaceTime or telephone visits to help with social distancing? Somebody probably is. I'm not. James, my old racquetball buddy from med school. How you doing, buddy? Hi, Darcy. Hi, Dave Sanchez. Shovik, my man, coming out on Life Can Change in a Moment. A great episode with Shovik. I'm trying to read the rest of your... Seems like our doctors have had less access to testing than doctors in other countries. Are you experiencing this? Absolutely. Do you see testing getting better? I do. That's a good question. So, Shovik...
yeah, I had a testing question. Why are there not enough tests?
That's a political question, and I might dodge it. But
okay. Is it expensive, the test?
I don't know how expensive it is. I've heard mixed things.
I've
Certainly,
heard like $4,000. I've heard $1.
I heard like $1,000 too. I don't know how much the test costs. Okay. But I'll tell you one story. So I was in the ER ago, had somebody that was high risk. I didn't. Wasn't an exposure for me. Don't worry, you're not going to get corona by watching me. But there was somebody where we wanted to get them tested, called public health. They didn't pick up the phone. We had to get their approval before we could do the test.
Oh, no.
Called. They never answered the phone. And so at that time, this was a week ago, we were in a state where, and I'm sure they were overwhelmed. They didn't have enough tests. In order, at that time, for us to get the test, we had to call, I work at 3 different ERs. It was all the same. I had to call public health. Hey, I've got somebody high risk. They've been exposed or traveled or whatever, or they're really sick. Those were the criteria at the time. We want to get the test and get their approval first. You do the test like a flu swab. Swab it in the kind of the back of the whatever. But it takes 2 to 3 days to get a result. If you went into an urgent care, you get a flu swab and get a result in 30 minutes or an hour, you know right away. Right. With this test, now that's better, but it's still a 2-day, 48-hour turnaround. So it's not like swipe. It's not like a rapid strep or a rapid flu where you get that result really quick. Right. So it's not very practical. And it's a big pain in the ass to get it done. So it's 2 thumbs down for the United States of America with testing so far. Now, the other thing is, at this point, should everybody be running in and getting tested? Probably not. No. I don't know how necessary that is. If you get sick and you're not super sick, meaning you're not short of breath, you're not, altered mental status, you're not puking your guts, you're not super sick, probably better just to stay at home and ride it out since we're going that way. Right. We'll see. If it turns out that Walmart pops up, today Trump came out, he said, I'm partnering with everybody, we're putting money into it, now there's going to be more testing, right? Politically, I have heard, I don't know what's true, but politically, testing was suppressed, even though in January, health officials said, we need more testing. People at the top said, no, we don't want to do it. It is an election year. Some people have said, well, would it have looked bad for an incumbent president if there was a ton of cases? Better to just artificially have the numbers be low because we're not testing. So there's absolutely politics involved. Yeah. I don't want to get the political. Yeah, let's not. I was like, let's not. Don't get mad at me. Let's not go in. Why isn't there more testing? Because we didn't do it. Yeah, that's the answer. Because we didn't pay for it, do it, and set it up. But I will say one other thing is, don't forget, Asia. If you look at these other Asian countries that have had better responses, they went through a big scare with SARS 2002-3. They have capacity. They have political will. Now that we've gone through this and gotten scared, we're going to learn from it, and then we're going to be more prepared in the future. Right. So that's a little thing on testing. I'm going to slip over. Maybe I can turn this thing on. To see if we can do. See if I can do. Is this still happening? That one's still happening. I think I can do both. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Let me see if anyone asked any questions on here. Yeah, see if you have some questions.
He must be a physician. Just jumped on what topic? Oh yeah, we're talking about coronavirus.
I'm glad people buy that.
They're saying when you see, I totally understand. When you see the sites in Italy, it's scary. Relating to family, Heidi Klum can't get a test. Heidi Klum has it, or what?
What's wrong with Heidi Klum?
I don't know. I haven't read.
What's wrong with Heidi?
What's up with Heidi? Thanks for your input on this. I probably shouldn't have said anything. Yeah.
I think I can do both. Sorry about that. We're back.
My
phone died, and so now we're doing both from.
Oh, is it working?
It looks like it's working.
Wow, that's actually good to know.
I don't know.
How can we shrink their immune system? We covered that. Okay, any other questions that you guys have? We're still talking
Hang on
about.
just a second, and we're back. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Are we back on?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay. So
what-
I mean,
so
I think
where
we're
were we?
almost to the end, but they
Okay. Anybody have any other?
nobody else had any questions that I saw.
So this is like the main question that I keep getting over and over for young, healthy people. Am I going to be okay?
Yes.
And the answer to am I going to be okay is if you're young and healthy, yes. The chance to die from this coronavirus is very, very, very low, such that you don't really have to worry about that for yourself. The people we are worried about are people over 60, 70, 80.
Right.
With medical conditions like smoker's lung, heart failure, things, people who are 80 on chemotherapy that are at high risk of when they get it,
right,
they get critically ill and dying. And so you doing your part as a young person, and everybody,
right,
washing your hands, definitely staying home if you're sick, and now all of this social distancing and closing all of these things, that's everybody doing their part so that older folks
yes,
don't get as sick.
Yes.
So our hospitals and ICUs don't get overwhelmed.
Yes.
And so we're going to get through this in one way or another. But the more that you guys, the more that we do that, the less people are going to get sick, the less overwhelmed the system will be, and the better we will do through it. But I keep saying this like Game of Thrones, winter is coming. We're not through it. We're not even in it yet. It's coming in the next week or two, and it's going to be okay.
So, and two, if you know any older people, don't forget to check on them, and also don't forget that you could go grocery shopping for them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that I'm kind of thinking. I think about small business owners and restaurants and yoga and whatever, and I think just thinking about people, like somebody posted for the performers at the whatever, like, if you have a ticket to whatever, maybe you don't ask for your money back because they're going to need money to survive. And just little ways to think about, hey, we're in this together.
Right.
How can you sacrifice a little bit to help the good of everybody? You're not putting yourself at risk, but little things like that I think is worth thinking about.
Definitely.
Hi, Jill Brown. Hi, Dr. Perry Godsey. I was thinking about you the other day. I wonder how you're doing corona-wise. I wonder what you think about babies and pregnant moms with corona and all of that.
Oh, here we go.
Interesting conversation.
Oh, that would be a very.
Hey, Carrie. Hey, Janie. Hi, Mrs. McHale.
If you get corona, does 100% go away and then does it come back, or is it one and done? Oh, that's a great question. Do we even know that yet?
Yeah, for sure. It's one and done. So
so like if you get it, you don't ever get it again?
Not this strain.
Okay.
No.
Interesting.
In this flu. So the way it works with viral diseases, the virus gets in, multiplies in your cells, whatever, your immune system fights it off and makes antibodies. You clear it from your system. Okay. So just like when we say, the virus has to run its course.
Yeah.
Medication. Is there any treatment for corona? No. There's experimental stuff, but there's really no antibiotics for this virus.
Okay.
Antibiotics don't treat viruses. Like the virus has to run its course, okay, let's say you get corona. It runs its course, your body develops the antibodies, fights it off. If you were exposed, let's just say a week later, 2 weeks later, virus comes in, your antibodies attack it, beat it off. It does not make you clinically ill. So you get it once, your immune system figures it out, and then has all of these little corona-specific antibody soldiers that if it comes in again, they beat it off really quick, and it's no big deal.
But would you still be could you be asymptomatic?
You're not going to transmit. Okay. No, that's usually not. I mean, there are certain things where, let's say you get one strain of flu A in 2010, and a similar one comes back 10 years later, you have some immunity. You might get a little bit sick.
Right.
But you don't have as many, maybe that's different. But this is like you get it once, you clear it, your immune system fights it off. You don't have to worry about it again.
And so, let's say that I get it. Let's say I had it, universe, I'm not asking for it. If I get it, then I have it, and they say it takes 14 days for it to go away. So I would be away or, quarantined for 14 days. And then I would be free to go out, and then it wouldn't matter if I talked to you or was next to you and you had it,
Right.
Because I just couldn't get it again.
Right.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's true. Once you clear it like that, you're not
Okay.
going to later transmit it. If you want to get nitty gritty on that, for you, most likely if you got exposed, you would clear it because you're young and healthy far earlier than 14
Okay.
days. So it's like anything, people are going to respond differently. But in general, most of it is gone to most people in 14 days in a way that they made that quarantine rule. Some people are like, oh, there's some evidence people have it 28 days. Whatever. We're not making it as complicated as it can be. Certainly afterwards, you bumped into somebody that had it. Again, like we said, your body would fight it off in a second.
Okay.
You're not contagious. On the other hand, like theoretically, if you went to the gym and you could still have it on your hand.
Oh, okay.
Give it to somebody
if
it's not from you.
Got it.
Whatever.
Got it. Okay, I see what you're saying. So that's where the wash your hands, hand sanitizer.
Hi, Nicole. Hey, Nicole.
Let me check. Any questions? Thank you for your time today.
Do you guys have any other questions about that? We really talk about this all day long.
I know. So 2020 is not our year. Will the Olympics be canceled? I have no idea about that. I don't think you have any idea about that.
I think the Olympics are at risk for being canceled.
Yeah, I mean, so many things.
As far as I haven't made that. If I were in charge, I would still kind of watch and wait and see. But my guess is that this thing is going to be still enough of a problem by the summer that is at risk of being canceled, probably.
Yeah. Well, even like the implications.
Hard to imagine it getting so cleared.
Right.
That athletes and people and having international travel to it's this huge petri dish. It's hard for me to imagine that being us being done with that. Maybe you could delay them until October. They're not the Summer Olympics anymore. But
right.
I don't know. I'm sure they will wait and see.
I guess so. I guess the biggest thing is taking this one day at a time. Because we have this is such a wait and see game, and it's like unknown. It's just like we have to adapt and we have to be creative and we have to just do the best we can. And that's like the thing that I'm asking myself every day is like, am I doing the best I can with what I have in this moment? Yes. Okay.
One day.
Like, there's nothing else for me to do.
Yeah, one day at a time is great. This will evolve.
It will evolve.
Every day, every week. It's going to be a little different. Have some more cases. There's going to be, unfortunately, some more deaths. Mm-hmm. The right thing to do may change. We may have different policy one day at a time. Right. We're going to be all right. We're going to get through it.
But I think that's the biggest thing is we're going to be okay.
Hey, Dr. Hillen.
I do not have enough toilet paper, by the way. If anyone in LA would like to ship, do you have toilet paper?
I'm not going to publicly say whether I have toilet paper
I have
or not.
1.5 rolls left.
Yes, I have toilet paper and I've got guns, so don't even think about coming for it.
No, I'm gonna be at a friend's house tomorrow that has a plethora. No, not really, but
you're gonna steal toilet paper.
Well, he doesn't know yet, but he might if he's watching this.
Wow, I felt really good about doing these videos with you.
I'm not gonna steal it. I'm gonna donate some to myself.
Yeah, it sounds like
no, but shout out to also tissue on like a lighter note. And anytime I'm making a joke or laughing about something, it's just because it's my.
Oh my God! You should totally tell jokes. I feel like the comedians need to save us here.
I'm like,
there's so much material.
But I'm like, don't forget.
Stuff is so crazy. I mean, it's serious too, but
it's serious, and so I'm not laughing at anything bad. But like, don't forget we can use tissue paper. Like, get box tissues. I was like at the grocery store, and it's like
box tissue
for toilet paper, Kleenex. Yeah.
You're giving recommendations on what to do.
On what to use if you don't have toilet paper. That's a real thing, though, because, like, what are you going to do if you don't have TP? Well, I also saw there's this company called Hello Tushy. And they
what?
And they have a bidet that's $70 that you can put
Hello Tushy?
Yeah,
what did you say?
Hello Tushy. I'm not associated with them. But Hello Tushy, they have a bidet that goes on top of your toilet, and it's $70. So if you don't have toilet paper,
maybe it's time for the U.S. to transition to bidets. That's interesting.
I'm just putting that out there.
Investment opportunity.
$70. That's how many? I don't know how many rolls of toilet paper that usually is. I'm just trying to be helpful. Okay, that's serious. I mean, it's a real thing that people.
I think we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah, I guess we're getting into.
we might do this again. Thanks for watching.
Thank you guys.
It's going to be okay. Do your part.
Yes.
Winter is coming. Hang in there.
Yes.
Things may get rough for the next weeks, and
it's going to be okay.
And it's going to come to an end. And we're going to get through this.
Yes. And we'll be able to be like, remember when? that happened.
Yeah, and then it'll be part of our history.
Yes.
All right.
So let's make ourselves proud.
Hang in there and take care of yourself.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye. As I kiss, and that's not what you're supposed to do.
Who did you just
I touched my face.
just communicating disease with that on camera?
I'm out. Oh God. I love
That was
it.
good, right? That
That
was
was
fun.
perfect. We're still on. We're like, we were good, right? Was that good?
No, I think it was perfect.
I think it was perfect too.
I hope the other one, my phone died. I hope the other one didn't.
Disappeared? Well, no.
Oh, shared your video.
I shared it. That's what I was doing when I was
So
like,
is
hold
it
on.
still out there, even though this died?
Let me
Sorry,
see.
I should have plugged it in.
It's all good. I didn't know that it was going to be.
That was good.